Hello my internet friends, welcome back to another video. We have a different setup today. I want to try out new setups, so just bear with me right now during this period of experimentation. How do you feel about the outfit? Personally, I really like it. However, it feels kind of inauthentic because it's 11 p.m. and after I finish recording this video, I'm going to bed. This is not like my look. So today is a very special video. It is a tag. I have been tagged. I'm very excited. Thank you, Rosika from the Midnight Reader, for tagging me. If you're following me but you're not following Rosika yet, I don't know what you're doing. If you like me, you're gonna love Rosika. She's hilarious. She also seems to think I'm hilarious, and I don't think I'm particularly funny, but I think that me and Rosika find the same things funny. If that makes sense. So if you like me, you're gonna love her. Okay, so today we're doing the ratings and reviews tag. Fun fact, I tried recording this a few days ago and I didn't like the footage, so we're doing it again. What I learned is that sometimes I'm okay unscripted, sometimes I'm not. Before we jump into the questions, one thing is missing from the outfit. Rosika wore a beanie in her video, and she called out how she was mildly self-conscious because she wears this beanie a lot in videos, and I decided to show her beanie solidarity. I feel like this bit is gonna get old really quickly because it's gonna get hot under this beanie, but worth it. Okay, and now we are ready to jump into the questions. Okay, so number one, tag folks. Okay, for this I want to tag Kiki's Bookish service and Leo Bancroft. I do feel a little weird doing that because they have more subscribers than me. Here's the thing, I know both of you sort of, in the sense that we occasionally comment on each other's videos, so I'd like to think that our internet friendship is a little warm, and so you would be open to receiving this tag. Also, I know that Leo has tagged me in a video that I had to refilm Leo because that footage was corrupted, so I had to redo it. So I do want to tag you back as a thank you. And as for Kiki's Bookish service, if you are not following Kiki's Bookish service, you must. Kiki has the most aesthetically pleasing videos I've ever seen. She does a lot of flip-throughs, a lot of DIY watch me create my reading journal spreads, which are beautiful. And Kiki, I don't think you do tags, but here's my humble pitch to you. One, I think that you are so creative that I would be curious to see how you incorporate your book crafting style of videos into the tag format. I feel like you could do something really interesting there and really innovative. Or alternatively, you could just do a simple sit down in front of the camera, film a tag video, and it could just be a respite from the normally very difficult to edit, aesthetically pleasing videos that you always deliver. So, that's my pitch to you. You can either get a break from your normal editing style, or you can really be a pioneer in the tag format. So yeah, those are the people I would like to tag, humbly. Question 2, how do you know if you finished a good book? Is it a thinking or a feeling response? It's a gut thing. I definitely go with my gut on books. Here's the thing, even though I have a booktube channel, I don't think that I'm particularly qualified to review books. I'm really good at reviewing books for other young 20-something Asian women who grew up reading a lot of fantasy and dystopian. I feel like I'm great at reviewing books for them, but I don't think I'm great at reviewing books in general. I don't think my tastes are particularly awesome. I have my guilty pleasure genres. I feel like on my channel I've embraced just being really subjective and understanding that, personal taste is personal taste when it comes to books. So for me, it's a gut response. Did I like it? Did I not? Later, I will try to parse through those feelings and understand why I had a gut positive or gut negative response. Question 3, when you begin to form your review/rating, what is the first question you ask yourself? Okay, settle in, because this is going to be a long answer, because I have a lot of thoughts on this. Okay, so the first question I normally ask myself is, did I enjoy the book? For me, 95% of the time, it's that simple. Like, for the most part, I'm reading books for enjoyment. I want to be entertained. And also, going back to the subjective thing, I read a lot of objectively good books, aka every single one that I was required to read in high school. Did I enjoy those books? No. Not even a tiny bit. So Rosika actually has a really interesting video talking about why she's kind of embraced reading like bad romance books, like trashy guilty pleasure romance books, and other sort of non-nourishing media. And I think that was a really interesting video, and I totally agree with the point she was making there. You can enjoy a book and know that it's not a good book. Like, you can enjoy a book that uses really obvious tropes and has Mary Sue characters, but you enjoyed the heck out of it, like it was what you wanted in that moment and you got it. Like, I consume a lot of guilty pleasure sort of media. Like, I devoured Love is Blind season 2. Like, I am not afraid to admit that. I'm on TikTok, and let me tell you, 95% of TikTok is not nourishing media. Is it entertaining as hell? Yes. And I think that there's still some value in not nourishing media. I also on my channel find it interesting to reflect on trashy books, like things that aren't great but are like a guilty pleasure, and trying to understand what was good about it, like trying to understand what was entertaining about it, why, even though this thing was bad and had all these bad traits that you don't want from your book, and yet can still be entertaining as hell. In that vein, when I think of a good book, I think of a book that I enjoyed and why. Question 4, do you do star ratings? Why or why not? Yes, I do star ratings. Honestly, I use star ratings because a lot of people on BookTube use star ratings. It's just more effective to communicate how you feel about a book and how much you recommend a book when you can attach a number to it. Like, I feel like, taste is subjective and how people measure stars is subjective. Like, my star rating system is going to be slightly different than Camilla's, which is going to be slightly different from Rosika's, which is going to be slightly different from Kiki's Bookish service, which is going to be slightly different from Leo's. But it is such a fast shorthand to tell you how good a book is. Also, I think it is fun at the end of the year to average out your star ratings and see what is the average rating you give books, etc., etc. So I don't know, there are a lot of benefits to star ratings, and I don't necessarily find them limiting. Also, there's a follow-up question to question 4, which is, if yes, explain your star rating system. Don't mind if I do. Honestly, a 4-star for me is kind of an average rating. I'm very liberal with my 4 stars. So to me, the way I measure it is 4-star is a good book. 4-star is a net positive book. I liked it. Maybe there are 1 or 2 things that I was meh about, but overall, I would recommend it. I would read it again. Great book. Nice. 5-star is 10 out of 10. Amazing. Much amazed. No notes. Clap, clap, clap. I literally wrote clap, clap, clap in my notes. I don't know why. Scripting J was in a mood when she wrote that. Yeah, 5-star to me is a perfect book. I can't imagine it being better. The end. And going now the opposite direction. A 3-star book to me is meh. A 3-star rating to me is a bad rating. A 3-star book has already been put into the trash folder in my brain and is going to be deleted in 60 days. Kind of reminds me of the opposite of love isn't hate, it's apathy. And a 3-star is an apathetic book. I mean, that doesn't really work with the line if love is a 5-star and apathetic is the opposite of love, it should be a 1-star. But let's just for this let's just ignore the contradiction in the metaphor. To go down the list, 2-star means I hated it, but maybe there was 1 or 2 things that I didn't hate. Maybe there were 1 or 2 nuggets I really enjoyed. Maybe one of the characters was kind of funny and I giggled and that boosted it. But a 2-star is a bad. A 2-star is not getting recommended to anyone anytime soon. And a 1-star is I hate it. I probably DNF'd it. I have no redeeming qualities for it. The end. By the way, to anyone who doesn't use star rankings, there are questions asking you to explain your answer, and I am very curious to hear those answers. To add an addendum to who I'm tagging anyone who doesn't use star ratings. I'm sincerely very curious to hear your answers, your thinking behind this, because star ratings are just so prevalent on BookTube. So yeah, you are tagged. Number 5, do you believe that every book has its perfect reader? Okay, so like when I first read this question, it kind of broke my brain a little bit because like instinctually, like a gut reaction sort of response, I do believe that every book has its perfect reader. That sounds like the correct answer, right? There's so many people in the world. There has got to be one person who likes your book. However, the second part of this question really broke my brain because it poses the question, does this contradict the idea that a book can be bad? And hi, sorry to cut in here. It's day 2 filming Jay. I wanted to wear the same hat to continue beanie solidarity, but I did want to indicate that it is a different day. Different shirt, different day. So let me tell you something. This question broke my brain. And you know, it seems that Jay needed a little bit more scripting for this question. She spends the next like 5 minutes kind of talking in circles and not getting to an actual conclusion. So I had to go back to the drawing board and craft my answer. Because here's the thing. I believe that both these things can be true at once. I believe that books can be bad, yet also have their perfect reader. I just couldn't articulate why in the moment because it was 11 p.m. And notes. And we're gonna reference this. Okay. So Webster's Dictionary. I'm just kidding. So my answer for this can kind of be broken down into 2 segments. Here's the easy answer. If your book is blatantly and unapologetically sexist, racist, homophobic, transphobic, anti-Semitic, and just promotes hate in any way and puts down people in any way and promotes that as the correct way to be, that's a bad book. That book has its perfect reader. That book's perfect reader is also sexist, racist, homophobic, transphobic, etc. So yes, bad books can have their perfect readers. Their perfect readers just suck. That's kind of like the easiest, obvious answer. If your book is cruel, if your book promotes hate, your perfect reader is also a hateful person. The second part of this answer is a more nuanced discussion that talks about kind of like the subjective taste of it all. On that note, I'm going to reference the artifacts on this bookshelf. Okay, so look, a lot of these books on this shelf, these books from my younger years, are bad. They're bad books. They're bad. They have really obvious tropes. They utilize pretty like outdated and oftentimes sexist stereotypes, and the plots are often predictable. Sometimes character motivations don't make sense, or sometimes character motivations are overly simple, making them bad books. Those books had a perfect reader. That perfect reader was 12 in 2006. Just because a book has a target demographic doesn't mean it's a good book. And I think that applies to like all media. Like, I don't want to get too far into this, but like, I have like a rant ready to go about how it's bullshit how a white cis men dictate what is considered objectively good art, objectively good movies, completely ignoring other lived experiences and why those lived experiences would inform different tastes in books, movies, TV shows, etc. This is not the time for it, but she is locked and loaded. Like, she is ready. Okay, to tie up this thread, books can have perfect readers. That does not exempt them from being bad books. Also, to kind of like add a like sub point to that, I'm a big fan of so bad it's good media. Like, I'm a big fan of trashy media. For example, I fucking devoured Love is Blind season 2. However, would I say that Love is Blind is good? No. Not exactly. Like, Camilla said something like this in her answer where, you know, kind of acknowledging that bad media can also be enjoyable. That doesn't mean it's good. I kind of feel like I answered the question. This is gonna be my third time answering this question, so that better have worked. What did I say? There's a moral element. Your book has to hit the bare minimum of not being racist, sexist, homophobic. Your book has to hit those bare minimum benchmarks. And then from there we can talk about narrative skill in order to debate if your book is good or bad. However, there are books and other pieces of media that are definitely not super mentally nourishing, that use a lot of tropes, a lot of really obvious sort of plot twists and things like that. Don't seem to demonstrate a lot of narrative skill and storytelling, but can still be enjoyable as hell in an entertaining way. A bad book can have its perfect moment, its perfect place, perfect time. But yes, that's the answer. Thank you for watching. Okay, back to Past J. Number 6, what book have you hated that you have recommended? A short answer, none. I don't recommend books that I hate. I can certainly recommend a book that I felt meh about, but not a book that I hate. That's going too far. Rosika had a fun answer to this. She recommended a kind of trashy Christmas romance book to her grandma. I thought that was a very funny answer, but no, I've never recommended books to my grandmother before. I truly don't know that our tastes would be so far away from each other that I could recommend her something that I hated. I could recommend her something I was apathetic about probably, but not something I hated. Okay, so number 7, what makes a book good by your evaluation? You know, I really don't know. Like, yes, I felt confident in myself enough to start a booktube channel, but I don't think I'm a good book reviewer. If you are a 20-something Asian woman who really loved fantasy and dystopian as a youth, I'm your girl. I got you. I got recommendations for days, for weeks, for months. But like, for anyone who does not have that experience, or any like, or at least like a couple of like overlapping markers, I'm not a good reviewer. So I'm both like existing in this space where I think that books can be objectively bad while also believing that good taste is purely subjective. Solve that one for me, John Green. Help me. I feel like John Green could answer this question really well. I'm tagging John Green specifically for this question because I feel like he has the answer. If we're going purely by my evaluation, my incredibly biased, subjective evaluation, if a book makes me cry, that feels like a good book. If a book moves me to tears, I think you nailed it. It's obviously so hard to measure that because there are so many different books that I've deemed good for different reasons. So there's not one specific aspect that I can pinpoint as a common thread. But, you know, as a general baseline, like, if I am consumed by a desire to read this book, if out of all the things I could and should be doing, I choose to read this book, it's a good book. You know, if I know that my lunch break ended 5 minutes ago and I'm like, just one more page, then I know I got a good book. You know what I mean? So I think that, like, if I had to, you know, boil it down to something, I would say, like, good pacing and the ability to hold my attention. You know, authors, you can interpret that however you want. But good pacing. Number 8, when evaluating the quality of a book, do you have specific criteria or aspects of the book, such as character development, that you consider? Does that change if you are writing an in-depth review just thinking about the book for enjoyment? Okay, so I don't write in-depth reviews, obviously. I just tell you if I liked it or if I didn't like it. Okay, let me tell you, this tag makes you think. Like, this tag really asks you to think. Like, I feel like Bunny, the dog that talks with buttons, I feel like I'm looking at my expanse of buttons in front of me, and I don't have a button for the word I am thinking of. I feel like I am just here like, Bunny, like, book, yes. And you're like, I see, Bunny. What did you like about the book? And I go, book, happy, yes. I got this. I can do this. Give me a minute. I don't really have specific criteria that needs to be hit. I think as long as, like, your characters are not, like, douchey or degrading to women, I think that's kind of the only criteria I really want. Like, I don't care if that character is supposed to be purposely douchey. I don't enjoy reading about douchey characters, so don't put them in your books. That's my criteria. That's the one baseline that you have to get over. I truly don't know. I don't have specific criteria. It's more just like, after I determine, you know, if I liked or disliked a book, I from there analyze why, but I don't have any specific things that are like must-haves in order for that book to get a good rating. I hope that makes sense. And I hope that's a satisfactory answer. I feel like none of these were satisfactory. Number 9, do you consider average ratings or star ratings when adding a book to your TBR? Like 1000% yes. I feel like it's an even split between the premise and the booktuber's star rating. Because like to me, like I've been like reeled in by premises to books before and then kind of bummed out when the booktuber says, it was just a 3-star. It was meh. Like, I'm not gonna read a book if you told me it was meh. You know what I mean? Like, if a book did not stick the landing, if it did not deliver what it promised, I'm not gonna read it. You already told me not to. I don't like Goodreads a book or anything like that to look at, like, the average reviews it gets. I only go off of just the one recommendation from the booktuber I'm watching. Like, if I'm following you, it's because I trust your opinion. So if you said, yes, I love it, then I'm like, sounds great, add in it. One thing, though, is that I will also, like, take into account, like, say someone says, I really like this romance book, however, I'm not a fan of, like, the fake dating trope, so it was, like, a 3-star for me, just because I'm not a fan of this one specific thing. I can listen to that review and think, well, I fucking love the fake dating trope, and I think that would be a plus for me, so I would read it anyway. Like, something like that. If, like, you, the booktuber, describes part of why I didn't like it was because of this reason, and I think, well, that actually sounds like a pro to me, and I sense that there's a difference in our personal tastes, or I sense that you tend to rate books like 1 star lower than what I normally give books, then I take that into consideration. But yes, I do heavily take into account star ratings when adding books to my TBR. Number 10, who on BookTube does reliable and interesting reviews of books that you know you can use to decide if a book is for you or not? What makes their reviews so good? I mean, here's the thing. If I'm subscribed to you, it's because I trust your bookish opinion. I follow you because you give me book recommendations. Maybe I don't act on them right away because I'm trying to get through this stupid bookshelf, but I will eventually. I will say that the person I am taking most of my book recommendations from right now is Rosika, just because we seem to be the same person, and so honestly I don't need to hear more than just the title of the book. Like, I don't know, I trust like Rosika's opinion on books completely, just because so far it seems that we are on the same wavelength. Like, I have yet to find like the separating factor in the Venn diagram of our taste. Like, it just seems to be one circle. So until that day, Rosika. What makes her review so good? I don't know. I like Rosika because she's funny. She seems to have the same silly sense of humor that I do. Off the top of my head, I think Kiki's Bookish service is very soothing. I kind of use your videos a little like meditation. Leo Bancroft, I think you do a great job of like summarizing books concisely and why you did or did not like them. Camilla, same for you. I feel like you are my aspirational bookish taste. Like, you are kind of like the scholar I want to be one day. Yeah, those are why your reviews are so good. Compliments. You get a compliment, you get a compliment, you get a compliment. Okay. Number 11, do those booktubers use different language than you to evaluate and review the overall quality of a book? I'm not gonna lie, I don't have an answer for that. I have not noticed. I don't think so, like, is the short answer to that question. I really don't know what they're asking me. Are they asking if y'all use different adjectives for me? Because I'm sure we do. Probably, but it all comes back to the same collective shorthand we have, which is the 5-star scale. So, okay, so that was all the questions. Thank you for joining me on the floor, and thank you, Rosika, for tagging me. I really appreciate it. That's it for me right now. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Okay, bye.